most people over 60 start their mornings the same way they have for decades. They wake up, shuffle into the kitchen, and reach for whatever feels familiar. A strong coffee, a glass of juice, maybe something sweet, maybe something quick. It feels harmless. After all, it's just a drink. But here's the part many older adults don't realize. The first things you drink in the morning quietly shape how your heart, your kidneys, your blood vessels, and your metabolism behave for the rest of the day. Not in dramatic ways you feel immediately, but in slow, cumulative ways that add up over years. Large population studies on longevity show a clear pattern. People who live into their 90s and beyond rarely rely on extremes. They don't chase detox trends. They don't overload supplements. They build simple, repeatable routines that support hydration, vascular health, and metabolic stability day after day. And a surprising amount of that protection comes from what they drink in the first hour after waking. After 60, your body handles fluids differently than it did at 40. The thirst signal weakens. Blood pressure regulation becomes more sensitive. Kidneys lose some reserve capacity even when lab values still look normal. This means that the same morning habits that once felt neutral can slowly push your system in the wrong direction, or if chosen well, quietly support longevity without effort. There are 4 morning drinks that repeatedly appear in long-term health and aging research, not as miracles, not as guarantees, but as part of a pattern that protects the systems most closely linked to lifespan. Let's walk through them in the order most people overlook. For many, the morning starts with stimulation. Coffee before anything else, sometimes strong, sometimes sweetened. Coffee itself is not the problem. In fact, when used carefully, it shows up consistently in longevity data. Large cohort studies from Europe, Japan, and the United States have found that moderate coffee consumption is associated with lower all-cause mortality, fewer cardiovascular deaths, and reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. But there's an important nuance that matters especially after 60. Coffee is best tolerated when it is not the very first thing your body receives after waking. On an empty, dehydrated system, caffeine can temporarily raise blood pressure and heart rate more sharply, especially in people with underlying hypertension or vascular stiffness. Used differently, coffee becomes supportive rather than stressful. For most older adults, 1 cup, sometimes 2, taken after initial hydration, without sugar or flavored syrups, fits well into a longevity-oriented routine. Black coffee or coffee with a small amount of milk provides polyphenols that support endothelial function and insulin sensitivity. What matters is moderation and timing, not eliminating coffee, not treating it as fuel, but allowing it to be part of a balanced morning rather than the foundation of it. Another drink many people underestimate is tea, especially green tea. In several large Japanese cohort studies, regular green tea consumption has been associated with significantly lower rates of cardiovascular disease and overall mortality. Some analyses show reductions in stroke risk and heart-related deaths that remain even after adjusting for lifestyle factors. Green tea delivers a combination that is particularly useful in older age: mild caffeine, polyphenols like catechins, and a fluid profile that supports hydration rather than replacing it. Unlike sweetened beverages, green tea does not provoke sharp glucose swings. Unlike strong coffee, it tends to produce a gentler cardiovascular response. For seniors, 1 cup in the morning can support alertness without overstimulation. while contributing antioxidants that protect blood vessels from oxidative stress. This matters because vascular health is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. Healthy arteries support the heart, the brain, and the kidneys at the same time. The key is simplicity. Loose leaf or bagged tea. No sugar. No bottled versions with added sweeteners. Prepared gently and consumed regularly, green tea becomes one of those quiet habits that never draw attention yet show up again and again in aging research. Now let's talk about something that sounds healthy but often works against longevity when used incorrectly. Fruit juice. Many older adults still believe a glass of juice is a wholesome way to start the day. After all, it comes from fruit. But when fruit is juiced, fiber is removed, sugar concentration rises, and the effect on blood glucose changes dramatically. Repeated studies link regular consumption of fruit juice to higher risk of type 2 diabetes and weight gain, especially in older populations with reduced insulin sensitivity. That does not mean fruit is a problem. It means liquid sugar, even natural sugar, behaves differently in the body. If fruit appears in a longevity-supportive morning routine, it does so in whole form or blended carefully with fiber intact. A small, unsweetened smoothie made with water, a modest portion of berries, and perhaps a bit of yogurt or plant-based milk delivers polyphenols and fiber together. This combination slows absorption, supports gut bacteria, and avoids the glucose spikes that stress blood vessels and kidneys. The emphasis here is restraint. A small portion, simple ingredients, no added sweeteners. For people with kidney concerns, portion size and fruit choice matter, particularly due to potassium content. But used thoughtfully, a simple berry-based drink can support vascular function and reduce inflammation without burdening the system. Now, we arrive at the drink that rarely gets credit, the one people skip because it feels too obvious, too plain, too boring to matter: water. And yet, when it comes to longevity, nothing else does more quiet work behind the scenes. After a night of sleep, the body is mildly dehydrated. Blood becomes slightly more concentrated. Kidneys are asked to filter waste with less fluid available. In older adults, this state can persist well into the morning because thirst cues are weaker. Chronic low-grade dehydration has been associated with higher risk of kidney stones, faster decline in kidney function, and increased cardiovascular strain. Over time, even small daily deficits add up. Starting the day with water does something deceptively simple. It restores plasma volume, improves blood flow to the kidneys, dilutes waste products, and reduces the need for the kidneys to concentrate urine aggressively. Large observational studies suggest that people who maintain adequate hydration over years have better kidney outcomes and lower risk of certain chronic diseases. For seniors, this does not mean forcing fluids. It means consistency. 200 to 300 milliliters shortly after waking. Sipped calmly, before caffeine, before calories. This single habit supports blood pressure stability, kidney filtration, and vascular elasticity. Not dramatically, but reliably. And reliability is what longevity is built on. When you step back and look at the pattern, the message from the research is remarkably simple. People who live long lives don't rely on one miracle drink. They build mornings that support hydration first, stimulation second, and nutrition without excess. Water comes first, then gentle antioxidants from tea or coffee in moderation. Occasionally, a carefully constructed fruit-based drink that respects fiber and portion size. No extremes, no sugar-loaded beverages, no constant stimulation. After 60, these choices matter more than they did before, because your body no longer buffers mistakes as easily. But it still responds beautifully to consistent support. Longevity is not about chasing youth. It's about reducing unnecessary strain so your systems can keep working quietly for decades. The drinks you choose in the first hour of the day won't make headlines. They won't feel dramatic. But over time, they shape the environment in which your heart beats, your kidneys filter, and your blood vessels age. And that environment determines far more about how long and how well you live than any trend ever will. Start tomorrow morning, not with a new rule, but with a small adjustment. Because the most powerful habits are the ones you can repeat for the next 20 years without thinking about them at all.